Building VZCode Part 2, Vanilla to React. This video is a lightly edited recording of a session that I did for 1 hour with my friend AJ, and we're working on this VZCode project together. In this session, we touched upon using VSCode LiveShare, DOM manipulation with vanilla JavaScript versus DOM manipulation using React patterns, including JSX and Unidirectional Data Flow, useState, event handlers in React, and migrating interaction code from vanilla JavaScript to React. So today, I would like to tackle the using React patterns for the state management of clicking on the side and whatnot.
Right.
So I'll spin up my editor and start a live share session.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll drop it in the chat, and then I will check out your branch. Cool, yeah, I got this PR. Files added in, so I'll check out the branch called Connecting File System.
So with the show content function, I know we're using CodeMirror and not just like a normal text area, but I just wanted to figure out how to go about actually getting the data from the file you click on and displaying it. So I just
Exactly.
added that for like a temporary kind of learning experience, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. It's good.
Thank you.
It's good as a first iteration
Yeah.
for, working out the plumbing, so to speak, and then we can replace that text area with CodeMirror eventually.
Yep, exactly. Also, because I was looking into CodeMirror and using that. But
Yeah.
then I remember we were talking and you said you already had that figured out and you wanted to just drop it in. So I didn't want to mess with anything on that front.
Yeah,
If
exactly. Yeah, we should do the adoption of CodeMirror probably together in a shared session sometime
Yeah, definitely.
after this. But this is good because we need to work out that core mechanism of switching between files.
Yeah.
So right now I see that you can switch between the files and it basically works. And you can also fold and unfold the files sidebar, which is
Mhm.
pretty sweet.
Yeah. And then I made a little change and it was it's like when it's open, it switches to the open folder icon.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. That is a really nice touch. I saw that. Very cool. So yeah, let's take a look at the code and how the code is doing this currently.
Mhm.
So, all right, yeah, I'm looking at app.jsx. And what I see is, like you said, vanilla JavaScript, or like the vanilla approach to interaction, which is using the native DOM API to select DOM elements
Right.
and then mutate their class name property.
Right.
But the thing is, this is the kind of stuff that React was built to do.
Oh, okay.
Is this DOM manipulation, changing classes dynamically depending on some state, handling events.
Sure.
So yeah, this function here is one of the things I'd like to refactor to use the
Mhm.
React patterns.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I think we've got a couple of them. We've got show files. And what does this actually do?
Show files just is the drop down. So when you click the arrow, it shows all the files on the sidebar. And then
So I'll just add a comment here.
yeah.
The top level drop down, opening and closing all the list of files. And then that one gets the files from ShareDB. Nice.
It's from ShareDB. What would that be called? Structure?
Yeah, data structure. And that's some solid piece of logic that we can reuse. We can keep that. Like this is pretty
Yeah,
good.
that took some research because actually that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about
Yeah.
was remember how in the CLI when we're actually creating our structure for the ShareDB before we input it,
Uh-huh.
we randomly generate the IDs.
Yeah.
And so we don't know the IDs, so we can't call them using the key. So we can't be like id.name or id.text to get the basically we don't know the key. So I was looking up how to parse a JSON object without knowing the key, and this is what I came upon, and it works. So I thought that was kind of cool because you don't need to know the key for this.
Yeah, it's the for in
Mm-hmm.
syntax.
Right. And then so what parse data is, by the way, is I just wanted to put everything into a global var in here so that we could later on more easily like parse through the data that we have.
Yeah, got it.
And that's what I used in the show content function below.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that too. What does this do?
So this one actually takes, when you click one of the files, it puts the data into the text area.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, let's dive in and let's embark on refactoring all of this to use like standard React patterns.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a good move, and it will make the code more maintainable and scalable and readable.
Right. Yeah, no, this is just what I knew how to do. So.
And it's awesome, by the way. It's awesome. Like, this is great because it gives us something to start from, to iterate from. And iteration is the name of the game.
Right.
So I'm going to start by commenting out all of these. And then we can work on each one at a time.
Right.
So let's see. How does this look right now? And the current workflow for testing this is doing npm run build followed by npm test, which is not ideal, by the way. I would ideally like to be able to leverage the Vite dev server during our development.
Right.
But to get that to work, we need to set up something that's a little involved, which is the API proxy server. So we don't have to do that right now, but I think I'll just add that to the Kanban so we just keep track of it.
Yeah, definitely something we should do at some point, or we have to do at some point.
Yeah. So I'll add an item. Figure out local development workflow leveraging Vite dev server and API proxy. The way it would work then is that we would have like 2 tabs open, and one tab would just be the server, and that could just run forever, and we wouldn't have to restart it as long as we're just working on the front end. And then the other tab would have the Vite dev server, and that would do live reloading, so I wouldn't have to like run the build every time. But anyway, I don't want to get distracted too much. This is what it is for now, and it's fine for now.
Right. Yeah.
So if I go to localhost, here I can share my screen too, so you can see what I see.
Yeah, because it's not running on mine, so I don't have access.
Yeah, that's right. Although LiveShare has a feature where I can share a server.
Oh.
Let me try that. Share server 3030. So you should be able to access localhost 3030 on your machine.
Oh yeah, there we go.
And see the same thing that I see.
Which is nothing.
It's nothing, and then we've got some errors that says show files is not defined.
Exactly. Here, right.
So let's start there.
It should be good now.
Oh yeah? Nice.
Let's remember.
I'll rerun the build. Oh yeah, make the terminal read write for everyone. So now I think you should be able to edit in the terminal.
There we go. Oh, I was trying to click on the files to drop it down, but I forgot we commented that function out.
Exactly. So yeah, that's where we're at. Let's try to get that to work again. All right. So in the on line like 22, we've got show files.
Right.
And we are selecting the DOM elements that have the arrow class. And I think there's just one, probably?
Yeah. It's on line 89.
On line 89. There it is. Nice. So on here is where we can say on click. And this, have you ever seen this with React on click like this?
With the brackets?
Yeah.
Oh, with what you're doing now?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Nice. Awesome. So this is a brand new thing for you. Hopefully it'll blow
Yeah.
your mind. So you can add an on-click listener here inside of the JSX. This is JSX
Right.
here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And JSX actually compiles to JavaScript,
Okay.
not HTML. And because it's all JavaScript, you can put little JavaScript code inside of these event listeners.
Oh, interesting.
And so now, if we rerun it, and I'm just going to compose one command here so that I just have to run one command every time. npm run build and npm test. Now, if we click on that, we should see hello in the console.
Console. Yep.
And we do.
That's actually super cool and useful. I
Right?
didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's super awesome. So now what we have to do is look at the logic up in the code you had earlier that responds to those click those click events. So where was that? Show files on line 22. On line 25 is where we add the click listener.
Right.
And I think I might just grab all of this and put it down in our on line 90 in our event listener over here. And then I'll just run prettier real quick to format it. And I know there's a VSCode plugin for prettier, but I just haven't set it up.
Yeah. I think that's what I have, and that's why it does it for me.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it's actually super useful though, because it does it every time you save.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be the ideal thing. I should probably just bite the bullet and set that up.
Actually, do I even have it? No, it just does it automatically.
But then I always get sidetracked with the jungle of plugins.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
so
there's the one. I think this is it. And then I wonder if I need to do something to enable it. Like, how does it work now if I save? It does not run prettier.
So go to see the little cog on the right side next to prettier.
I'm looking. Like, what quadrant of the screen am I looking in?
The top left in the extensions.
Oh, here. Yes.
Yeah, that cog. Yep. And then click extension settings. Now.
Yeah, is there like a run on save setting?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have prettier exactly installed. So I'm not sure how the settings for this one exactly work, but.
And by the way, I would like our editor to run prettier automatically.
On save?
On save or even... See, what I'm envisioning for this VZCode editor is that it'll have the same behavior that VizHub has now, which is after you stop typing for like a second or a half a second, it automatically reruns.
Oh, okay.
Which in this case would be, it would save to the file system and also run prettier. And I just want prettier to be going all the time and like I'll just always have nicely formatted code.
Yeah, no, that would be super helpful.
And this experience right here, I think is representative of at least my experience with VSCode, where it's just a friggin' jungle of settings and pages and panels. And like, I have no idea how to just turn on prettier, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, just turn on prettier on save, and then what I have to do now is Google it.
That's what I'm about to do, actually.
VSCode, prettier.
Oh, it's in just normal setting.
On save. So it's a jungle of settings. And do you
If
have
you
some?
go to settings on VS Code, so file settings, or
Preferences,
preferences,
settings. Got it.
settings, yeah.
Yep.
And then search for formatter.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
this.
then
I've done this.
format.
There it is. Format on
Yeah,
save.
that's what I have.
Yeah, I have done this before. And format on paste is nice too. Might as well turn that on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I find it confusing to navigate all these settings.
Wait, actually, if you go, sorry, if you see where it says none for default formatter,
Oh,
you
I
think you
have to
can put
turn it
prettier
on
in there?
here.
Maybe. Oh yeah, prettier was at the top under PHP.
There it is.
Yeah.
Now do I have to
Hopefully that should work.
click save or something? There's no save. It's automatically saved, I
I
guess.
think it does it automatically.
All right, so here's the test. If I save, it worked. Amazing. All right.
Cool.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, now we got that working. Let's see what
Sweet.
this
Okay.
code does. Oh, nice. You rebuilt it. Sweet.
Yes.
So I could tell you right now, this code is probably going to break
Yeah.
because it's trying to get e.target.parent element, which is not going to be defined, I don't believe, because what we're dealing with here is these React virtual events, and we're one level off. Actually, E should be here.
It's not throwing any errors, but it's also not working.
Yeah, that's expected. So I had one level of indentation off. So what is this code doing? It is getting the parent element and then toggling the show menu class on that. And then it's doing some class manipulation.
That changes the folder from closed to open. The little
Nice.
icon.
So there are two things. Toggle show menu, and then there's like a separate thing, which is toggle folder open icon.
Yeah.
But these are actually DOM manipulate. This is rendering logic. This is DOM manipulation that, in my opinion, should go into the JSX. But in order to do that, we first have to introduce a piece of state.
Okay.
And that state will, I think, just be like open or closed or true false. We could represent it with a Boolean, I guess.
Right.
And so what I want to do on click is say, well, we want to toggle it. We want to toggle it open or closed. So let's say there's a function or a piece of state called like is open or is, let's name this together. Is file menu open?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's good.
So that would be the value of the state, and then there would be another thing called set is file menu open.
Okay.
And what we would want to do here is call set is file menu open, passing the inverse of is file menu open, meaning it would toggle true, false every time you click.
Right.
So now all we need to do is define these two things. And this is where React state comes in. And this is outside of the JSX. I'll put it right here for now.
Okay.
Const is file menu open and set is file menu open. I'm going to destructure this from an array with two elements that gets returned from useState, which is a React hook. This is the way of dealing with state in React.
Okay. State.
And the useState accepts an argument, which is the initial value of the state. So what should that be?
False.
False.
Because we want it closed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for this to work, we need to import this from React. Import useState like this. Now, we can run a little experiment just to test if this much is working, which is console.log is file menu open. And we should see this change over time. So I'll rebuild. Oh, there's some kind of an error.
Symbol useState has already been declared.
Oh, my bad. I already imported it. But we weren't using it quite yet. Oh, no, we were for data. Oh, we were already using it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, let me put that code close to the other useState, just so we group things together in the code. So we have two pieces of state, the data and the file menu being open or closed. And we are going to introduce another piece of state, by the way, which is which file is open.
Right.
But let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, that's next.
Yeah, that's next. All right, so I'm running the build. I'll open up our app. And then if I click, it says true, false, true, false.
Yeah. Wait, oh, are we getting the same? Do you see when I click too or no?
No, I
Wait,
don't.
no.
No, that would be like, that would be next level stuff right
Yeah.
there.
That's what we're trying to do.
Right, that's what we're trying to do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how you can use React State to toggle a piece of state to be true, false, true, false when you click on it.
Super cool.
So that's like layer one of this
and then
task.
we just go, if this is the case, do that.
Exactly. So now we have is file menu open in hand. And I'm going to go back down to line like 95 to see what's going on with this show menu thing, which I think we can toggle first.
Yeah.
Now, e.target.parent_element, if we scroll down, where is that defined?
That should be, oh, we're here. So that should be the folder or like the link where it says here. This div. I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
This one, I was trying to play around with this and it was only working when I did that. Like parent.element.parent_element.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I noticed there's a typo here. It should be icon link.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder if there's a typo in the CSS as well.
Real quick.
Yeah, where is that? Where is that? Oh, style.css.
Yeah.
There it is. IOCN link.
Here, let me just replace all of them.
Yeah.
Unpin.
Nice.
And why that was like that, but
Sweet. Yeah, just a typo. No worries. I think I'll rerun it just to check if that broke anything.
Yep.
No, it looks good. All right, so let's go about making that update. So what I'm going to do is scroll up and try to find that code. Or no, sorry, it's in our menu listener. So we want to toggle the class show menu on the parent element relative to this I, which, like you said, is going to be this div.
Yeah.
And to do that, we can make class name here dynamic, as in open up into something like this, where we use this string literal with the backticks, and then we can insert a JavaScript expression right here. Leveraging is file menu open. So if it is an a ternary expression. So if it is open, we put one thing, and if it's not open, we put a different thing. And I think if it is open, we want to have the show menu class active on here.
Yeah. Actually, wait. I think we need to put that on nav links up here. Sorry, because I'm looking at it
Oh.
now, and these are technically the same. So this would be the first parent. This would be the second parent.
Oh, right. It's parent element dot parent
Parent
element.
element. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
So it would be the li, or would it be the ul?
Whoa, this is one. Oh, here. Yeah, we can't hide the entire div. It would just disappear.
Cool.
The li up here.
So that's where it goes.
Yeah.
So I just pasted that logic there. We could just have it like this. If it is, yeah, thanks. Thanks for cleaning that back up. Awesome. And because it's just a string, we don't need those brackets.
Okay.
So this should work. There are various libraries that make this kind of thing easier when working with class names, but I don't think we need to adopt any libraries quite yet for this, because we can do this with just ternary expressions, and it's pretty clean. But what this does is, if is file menu open is true, it will set the show menu class on this li. If it's false, it won't set any class.
Got it. Sweet. Okay.
So let's see if it works. We have to rebuild.
Yep.
And then
no.
The arrow moved.
Yeah. Oh, wait. The for loop is necessary. Because the for loop goes through each of the elements inside of it.
But where was the for loop?
The for loop's in the function. For I var the arrow.length. Right here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Because that gets each individual li underneath, which has the actual files.
I see. So we can figure out these elements by looking for the arrow class name that got added. So it's on this I, but I think there's only one of these, right?
Well, so they're dynamically added in filled data right here. I'm adding each li from the sharedb JSON file.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it is work. Actually, wait, it's working. Can I try something real quick?
Sure, yeah.
So if we uncomment this out, there's no files there right now.
Right.
So even if when it does work, it's not going to show anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Parse data is not defined. Oops. There we go.
Yeah, I like where you're going. We're going to have to implement this at some point. But I think we're almost done with the little chunk of work that we set out to solve.
Yeah.
So we did the show menu toggling. Now we just need to toggle the menu to be open and closed, and then we'll be done with this little part, and then we can move on to adding the files. I think that makes sense for the flow of it.
Also, for some reason, I'm getting double file, triple file, quadruple. Oh, every time you open it, it adds more files.
Yeah, so this is the disadvantage of doing your own DOM manipulation.
Right.
with React. That's the kind of bug that you get.
Right. But now we should be able to get rid of the show files once we finish the folders.
Yeah, exactly. So
Mm.
that part is done. We just need to toggle this bx-folder-open.
Just change bx-folder to folder-open.
Yeah,
So could you do the same thing just on here, on this class name, if it's true
yeah,
or is open?
yeah, exactly. You want to take a stab at it?
Yeah. So here we would add those, get rid of that. And then, so is file menu open. And then ex dash folder dash open. And then should be x dash. Right.
Yeah,
Cool.
looks great. Let's see if it works.
Yep. Oh, fill data is, oh, I have to comment out my fill data call.
Ah, yes.
Oh, not for you.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep, it works.
It works. Amazing. Brilliant.
Sweet. So now we can actually get rid of the old function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll get rid of all that commented out code. So now all the click handler does is change the state.
That is so much cleaner.
Isn't it?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
It's a total game changer.
Wow.
This
Yeah,
is
massive function.
this is the concept of unidirectional data flow.
Okay.
The
Back
data
into
flows in one direction in a circle, meaning the app renders, and then you do some interaction. That interaction triggers a change in state, and that change in state triggers a re-render. And it's a very simple loop that's very easy to reason about.
Yeah. That's so much nicer.
So now let's move on to the, actually, let me stop and make a commit. This would be a good point in time to make a commit.
Yeah.
And I can start a new branch too. Or, no, this is already an open pull request, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just
you
add
just
another
push.
commit to this. Adopt React patterns, part 1. Okay, sweet. And we still have, what, 20 minutes? Awesome.
Yeah. We are making good time.
Yeah.
Also, apparently something real bad's happening with GitHub Desktop right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so for my IT class, that's where I learned to use Git the most.
Yeah.
I used it in high school, but that's where we, in our Discord there, we basically run the class, everything except for assignments. And our teacher just said, everybody update your GitHub Desktop, and then in all caps and bold, right now. I don't know what that's about, but
Oh, shit. Looks like something's going down over there.
I guess so. And it's only for Mac, which is great.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a fan of GitHub Desktop. Just because I couldn't figure out the UI. Like, because I learned all the commands, and then when I try to use a UI, I'm like, oh, this is like difficult to figure out how to use. I already know the commands. I'm just going to use those.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
True.
a little old school, but
it's so hard to put a UI on Git. I feel like GitHub Desktop does it the best, but
they really
still,
tried.
Yeah.
To make it more accessible.
I use it for some stuff, not everything.
But anyway, we've got this line here, this function here called fill data, which gets the files out of our ShareDB data structure and fills them into the sidebar.
Yep.
And let's take just a quick review of how we're getting the data in. We are using ShareDB, and then we're calling set data.
Right.
And then data is initially null, but after this happens, it will be defined.
Right.
And in React, when you have data that can be derived from some other data, which this is, because what we're doing is we're converting this data structure, which is an object, into an array. That array will drive these li elements. So we're going to want one li per element of the array.
Right.
I think.
Yes.
So the thing to use for that is actually use memo. Or use memo. I think I've been pronouncing it wrong all my life. It's actually use memo. So I'll say const parsed data. And by the way, I just prefer to use const over let.
Okay.
I know let works, but when I see let, that implies to me that this variable will be reassigned somewhere. So as soon as I see let, I immediately go look around and say, oh, where is it reassigned? Where is it reassigned? Because I have to understand that to understand the code.
Right.
Whereas if it's declared with const, I, as the reader of this code, immediately know that it's never going to be reassigned.
True.
And so it's, in a way, it makes it simpler, easier to read, which is I think the main advantage of it. But it's just a stylistic, personal preference kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
But anyway, what useMemo does is it computes some derived value from the state, but only when that state changes. It's using a thing called memoization, which is, there's a good Wikipedia article about it. Memoization. It's an optimization technique by storing results of computation. And it might be overkill for this, but I don't know.
No,
I tend to like to just do it the right way, so to speak.
Right.
And the way to use this is to define a function that returns some value, depending on data. So whenever data changes, this function will be rerun. Therefore, we should put data here in this array, which is the array of dependencies.
Oh, okay.
So every time data changes, this function will be rerun.
Got it.
And it will be run the first time, so we need to guard against data being null. So the first thing I'm going to do is say, if there is no data, return null, I guess. So parse data could be null the first time.
Right.
But as soon as data is defined, we want to do pretty much this piece here. So I'm going to copy paste that code, uncomment it, and then we can massage this to be exactly what we need. And so I'll create something called parsed data inside of here, which is what will be returned from this function. And it's a bit confusing because there's two levels here with the same name, but I think it's okay.
We can also change the name of that second one if we want.
Yeah, and I suspect that as we refactor this, we won't need, like, I bet this will slim down to just a couple of lines.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read through here. So it iterates over the keys, extracts the name and the text. File is this string here. Oh, and it does get reassigned, so we do need to use let here.
Yeah.
And what is this doing?
So there's two quotes on the end of our file names, so it just gets rid of them.
Really?
And the \n. Because, for example, if we comment that out and then console dot log file and then run it. And then localhost. Oh, it breaks. But see how there's the quotes
Yeah.
before it breaks?
Yeah, but why do we need the quotes there?
No, that's getting rid of the quotes.
But why? But, I mean, the thing that puts the quotes there is the call to json.stringify. Why is that call there?
Oh, is it? No, that's because that's what we always use in class to just make it a string. Wait, let me just here. Let's just.
But it's already a string.
Well, we could. Never mind that happening ever. That never happened.
Cool. Let's see what happens now. And I think I'll just comment out this line for now because
Okay.
we'll be changing that. And then I'll add a console.log parsed data just so we can see what this is.
Right. Should I run it?
Yeah.
Good to go.
Sweet.
There we go.
All right, that worked.
Everything.
It's sort of worked. I mean, it worked in a sense.
Oh wait, that doesn't work.
So it actually created an object, not an array. But it created an object that kind of looks like an array in that it has these indices as keys.
Right, that's what I was kind of going for, because then we could just actually, I mean, it would be the same at the end of the day, but that's why I have the name in the context, because then it could be like parse data, and then we can get which li element it is, and then it will be the same, if that makes sense. So it could be like,
Yeah,
when you click on the first one, it could just be parse index 0.name.text
totally.
or context. Or that was my thought process with it. But if there's a better way to go about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to reframe this, what we want to ultimately do is come up with a bunch of LIs. And to do this with React, it makes sense to start with an array.
Okay.
And then we can map over that array and create an LI for each element of that array.
Right.
Therefore, I would say let's initialize parsed data to be an array.
Okay.
Instead of an object. And the rest of this code should work, I think. Let's see. I'll rerun it and check. Yeah, now we get an array.
Yeah.
So this would work, but I want to just take a second and clean up this code here.
Okay.
Is there a reason why
No.
we're using content?
Oh, just content of the file.
It might be simpler to use text here instead.
Yeah.
And in that case, what is this whole object?
Well, that's from when it was an object before. We don't need that. Because couldn't we just do that, comma, this, comma, this, and take out name and text completely? Because we know the first one's going to be the name and the second is going to be the content of the file or text of the file.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is data at key is already an object that has name and text.
Right. Oh, my whole point with creating parse data in the first place was so we can easily access the data later on when we're I made it so I can use it in my fill data down here.
Oh yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
But
So that
what
was
I'm
the whole
saying is
reason.
limited to the scope of just this block here. What do you notice about this block? Could it be simplified in any way?
Just put data.key in there.
Yes,
Or data
exactly.
key. Yeah. Because then we can, okay, yeah.
So this whole thing can just become data at key.
Yeah. I was splitting up something.
And
Yeah.
also, we can think about what we need to build up these LI structures. Because all we need really is an array of the keys.
Right.
And check this out. I'm just going to comment out this thing real quick just to show you. Or actually, sorry, we need that guard because I don't want to run this code if data is null. But there is a function called object.keys, which I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
But if you do object.keys, check out what it outputs. That outputs the list of the IDs.
Oh, that would have been useful.
And so instead of doing var key in data, you could do, and var is super old school. That's way even before let and const. So let me change that to const key in object.keys of data. This would actually work just fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then oh, yeah, okay.
And then we could actually simplify this whole thing to just say return object.keys of data.map, a function that takes as input the key and returns data at the key. And that does the same thing as all that code.
Yeah. And then we can just do parse data equals parse data for now. Right? Or would that do it automatically?
That does it. If it gets returned from this function, it gets assigned to parsed data.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So let me console.log this and see if it's still the right thing. Yeah, sweet.
React is so much simpler than vanilla.
It ends up being that way. It really does.
That's why it's so popular, I guess. Right. Oh my
And
goodness.
I suspect this whole thing might be able to go away. But let's see. Let's cross that bridge now, which is the LI part.
Mm-hmm.
So in our JSX, those LIs go under
Arrow. So here.
Where should they go here?
They're right after this one.
Like right here?
Yeah.
I'm just going to hard code a couple just to see if it shows up at the right spot.
Wait, sorry, over here.
Ah, okay.
Down here, I'm sorry.
Cool.
It everything got moved down lines.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the wrong files. Yeah.
Interesting. So they are only showing up when this thing is open. That's nice. But that's the right spot at least. Okay, great. So now what we can do is put some JavaScript here that says, okay, do we have parsed data? If so, do something. Otherwise, do nothing. Because remember, parsed data could be null. So we need to put a guard here.
Right.
But if we do have it, this is where we could actually put this JSX right in here like that. And what we would want to do is map over the parsed data. So we could say parsed data.map a function that takes as input one of those elements, which I think is going to be one of our files.
Mhm.
And it can return this JSX. And then we can put as the file name file.name.
Right. Oh, and then does it for you.
And so this should generate that list from our actual files now. Let's see if it does. There it is.
Yes. Wait, can you close and open it again? Okay, so that bug's gone too.
Yeah, that bug's gone. Yeah, JSX is super nice. I mean, it properly deals with updating the DOM to be what it should be. If that requires like removing existing, it's called the virtual DOM diffing algorithm.
Interesting. Yeah, no, React is very nice to use.
It's awesome. It is super sweet.
That's awesome. So, but we still need the parse data up here. But now we don't need this parse data function.
But actually, I have something I'd like to try.
Just move that down there.
So I'm just going to try this. If I comment out this, we don't have parsed data anymore.
Yeah.
But instead, we just have data, and we say if data is defined, then we say object.keys data.map key, and this is where we can just return data at key.name.
Oh.
And we don't need any of that other code that was up there.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That would be...
Let's see if this works. Yeah.
That just went from a 16-line function to like 4 relevant lines.
Yep.
Well, 1 relevant line, really. This is just what needs to be there.
That's right. Yeah, man. Wow. The beauty of refactoring. Yeah. I love doing this sort of thing.
Yeah. No, this is so cool.
And now we can add the event listeners to these.
Yeah.
Right?
So now we can, I'm just going to get rid of the parse data to declutter the top.
Oh, yeah. Good idea. Okay. Yep. We can totally delete all that. And now we focus on this part.
Okay. And then we can also get rid of just the fill data. Because now we're working on show content.
Yep. Nice. We're down to the last piece. And we have, oh, crap. We don't have any time left.
Uh-oh. Do you have to go right now?
I have a meeting. But what I'll do is I'll make a commit, and you can take it from here, because I think you got this.
Yeah. Your connection. Okay, you're back. Yeah, no, I can definitely take a stab. Try it out.
So, yeah, hopefully you can take it from here. And awesome. Thanks a ton. Yeah.
You got some great work done.
Yeah, that was super solid. And good luck, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you. Yep.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.